Have you ever stopped to wonder, truly wonder, what it was like to live 100 years ago? We often romanticize the past as a simpler time, a sepia-toned world of horse-drawn carriages and handwritten letters. But what was it really like to wake up in a world without a glowing screen in your pocket? A world where the loudest sound in your house wasn't the television, but perhaps the crackling of a fire, the ticking of a grandfather clock. Imagine a morning in 1925. The alarm clock was a jarring mechanical contraption you had to wind by hand. The news came once a day, folded neatly on your doorstep, telling you about events that had happened hours or even days before. Today, our mornings are a symphony of digital beeps and chimes. Our phones wake us, then immediately offer up a buffet of global news. The sheer volume of information packed into our first waking hour would have been utterly incomprehensible to our great-grandparents. They lived in a world of local concerns and tangible objects. We live in a global village, connected by an invisible web of data. The very concept of now has changed. For our ancestors, now was what was happening right in front of them. For us, now is a sprawling, simultaneous event happening everywhere at once. A protest across the ocean, a cat video being shared by millions. It makes you wonder what we've gained in this exchange and perhaps what small quiet things we may have inadvertently left behind. Life in the past was profoundly physical. Work involved sweat, calloused hands, and aching muscles. A factory worker stood at a machine for 10 or 12 hours. The deafening noise was a constant companion. Even housework was strenuous labor. Doing laundry involved hauling water, heating it over a fire, scrubbing on a washboard. Today we can order coffee online and have it delivered to our door while checking the weather in Tokyo. This shift isn't just about having more gadgets, it's about a complete reordering of our reality. School was much different. Children often walked miles to reach a one-room schoolhouse where a single teacher taught students of all ages. Discipline was strict. Learning was done by rote memorization. You wrote on a slate with chalk. The curriculum focused on essentials: reading, writing, arithmetic. There were no smartboards, no educational apps, certainly no Google. Knowledge was something you had to work for, to copy down and commit to memory. For many, formal education ended early. Family life was the undeniable center of society. With no television or internet to scatter everyone into separate rooms, families spent their evenings together. They gathered around the radio to listen to a favorite drama. The voices from the speaker filled the room with stories and laughter. They played board games, card games, and read aloud from books. Conversation was the primary form of entertainment. People talked. They told stories about their day, shared gossip from town, debated the news from the paper. The family unit was not just a social structure, it was the main source of entertainment, support, and social interaction. Free time was simple and community-oriented. People went to town dances, church socials, community picnics. Entertainment wasn't something you consumed passively on a screen, it was something you participated in. A trip to the cinema was a major event. For most, leisure was found in simple pleasures. A walk in the countryside, a conversation with a neighbor over a garden fence. The quiet satisfaction of mending a tool, sewing a piece of clothing. Life was smaller, more local, deeply intertwined with the people and places immediately around you. Then came the technological flood, a torrent of innovation that utterly transformed the landscape of daily existence. It didn't happen all at once, but in waves, each one more powerful than the last. First, electricity crept into homes, banishing the dark and powering a host of wondrous new machines. Refrigerators meant food could be kept for weeks instead of days, liberating households from daily marketing. Washing machines turned an all-day chore into a manageable task. These weren't just conveniences, they were time machines, gifting people, particularly women, hours of free time they never had before. The telephone was another revolution, shrinking the world in a way that was previously unimaginable. Suddenly, you could speak to someone miles away, their voice traveling through a wire as if by magic. It was no longer necessary to write a letter and wait days for a reply. Yet the telephone remained a shared, stationary object in the hallway. But the true earthquake was the arrival of the personal computer and the internet. This wasn't just a new tool, it was a new dimension, a digital world layered on top of our physical one. Suddenly, a universe of information was available at the click of a mouse. You could access entire libraries from your desk, read newspapers from every corner of the globe, connect with people who shared your most niche interests. Work began to change, with emails replacing memos, digital files replacing filing cabinets. The world of atoms began a slow but steady migration into a world of bits. Now, we live fully immersed in that digital world. The internet is no longer something we dial into, it's an omnipresent utility like water or electricity. Our smartphones are powerful computers that act as our navigators, our bankers, our encyclopedias, our entertainment centers, and our primary windows to the world. Technology hasn't just changed how we do things, it has fundamentally altered our perception of time, space, and even our own identities. We have outsourced parts of our memory to the cloud and parts of our social lives to apps. A reality that would have sounded like the wildest science fiction just a few generations ago. Communication in the old world was an art of patience. To share news with someone far away, you would sit down with pen and paper, carefully composing your thoughts. The choice of words mattered as you couldn't easily clarify a misunderstanding. You would seal the letter, purchase a stamp, and send it on its journey, knowing it would be days or weeks before it reached its destination. The reply would take just as long to return. This slow, deliberate process gave correspondence weight and significance. Receiving a letter was an event, a tangible piece of someone's life that you could hold and reread. Contrast that with communication today. We fire off texts and instant messages without a second thought. Our conversations broken into rapid-fire exchanges of short sentences, emojis, and GIFs. We like a photo to acknowledge a friend's milestone and post a story to share a fleeting moment with hundreds at once. The communication is constant, immediate, and honestly, pretty ephemeral. We are more connected than ever, yet the quality of that connection has become shallower. The thoughtful letter has been replaced by the quick LOL, and deep conversation has been supplanted by a scroll through a feed. Travel has undergone a similarly dramatic transformation. 100 years ago, a journey of a few hundred miles was a major undertaking. It involved a long, rattling train ride or a bumpy and unreliable automobile trip on poorly maintained roads. International travel was the exclusive domain of the wealthy, a months-long affair aboard an ocean liner. The world felt immense and distant places were truly distant. Most people lived and died within a small radius of where they were born, their world defined by the distance they could travel in a day. Today we think nothing of hopping on a plane and waking up on a different continent. The globe has been shrunk by jet engines and budget airlines. We can book a flight to Bangkok on our phone, navigate the streets of Rome with a GPS app, and instantly share photos of the Eiffel Tower with our family back home. This incredible mobility has broadened our horizons and made the world accessible. We can experience other cultures firsthand, not just read about them. The downside, perhaps, is that the magic and mystery of faraway lands have been somewhat diminished. The world has fewer secrets. For all the dizzying changes in technology and lifestyle, it's remarkable how much of the fundamental human experience has remained the same. The people of the past were not a different species. They felt the same emotions we do. A mother in 1925 felt the same fierce, protective love for her child as a mother does today. A young man then felt the same nervous excitement on a first date, the same sting of rejection, and the same joy of falling in love. People worried about their health, their finances, and their children's futures. They dreamed of a better life, sought comfort in friendship, and found happiness in small, everyday moments. Our core needs have not been rewritten by technology. We still crave connection, belonging, and a sense of purpose. In the past, this was found in close-knit communities, in church groups, and in large multi-generational families. Today, we seek it online in fan forums, on social media groups, and in multiplayer video games. The methods are different, but the underlying human need to find our tribe remains constant. We still need to feel seen, understood, and valued, whether that validation comes from a neighbor's compliment or a like on Instagram. Hope, ambition, and fear are also timeless. A farmer hoping for rain a century ago shares a common thread with a startup founder today hoping for funding. Both are staking their future on factors largely outside their control, working hard and dreaming of success. The fear of illness, of loss, and of the unknown haunted our ancestors just as it haunts us. We have better medicine and more safety nets, but the primal anxieties of the human condition persist. We all want to be safe, to be loved, and to leave a small mark on the world proving that we were here. Ultimately, looking at the past and the present is like looking at two different photographs of the same person. The clothing is different, the hairstyle has changed, and the background is almost unrecognizable, but the eyes are the same. They hold the same worries, the same joys, and the same fundamental humanity. Both have their own beauty and both are just different chapters in the long, fascinating and ever-changing story of being human.